How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Trump just announced something that would be absolutely massive for cryptocurrency. I want to go through what that is and the likelihood of something like that happening. We'll also be talking about everything else you need to know in the market here today. We have some pretty big news for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin ETFs. We also have Bitcoin just racing up recently. Of course, we are experiencing a little bit of resistance around 120 to 121,000. So we'll be going through that and what you need to know today on Friday. Now, I apologize for everyone that watches the videos and does not like when I rock. I do have the Bitcoin baby here. He's sleeping after a couple walks this morning and a late night for him last night. But yeah, we're gonna make it through. If you want to trade crypto, there are links underneath the video. You can check out BTCC. There's a 10% deposit bonus right there. And BYDFi, which has been my preferred, like my number one exchange recently. I like BTCC too, and I use the other exchanges as well underneath the video. But the majority of my new trading has been on BYDFi. One of the reasons I really like BYDFi right now is that we actually have a Telegram group underneath the video, completely free. It's in the description and the comments, the pinned comment, that is. And we have access to someone that works at BYDFi. So that is invaluable during a bull run to actually get answers to questions and things resolved if there is some kind of issue. I've had that, with a number of exchanges. Maybe you have a question, maybe like a deposit doesn't go through, or you want to, I don't know, raise a limit, right? Withdraw or deposit limit or whatever that is. And like you can't get anyone, but with BYDFi, we have someone on the inside, which is pretty nice. You can talk to them and try to get things addressed very quickly. And if you're a whale, you can actually get in a select group. It's all pinned in the Telegram, but you can check that out underneath the video. And there's up to a $13,000 bonus right now just for trading on the platform for about 6 more days. We constantly run these promotions where people can get paid out no matter when they signed up, as long as they signed up through me. Now, if you're someone that's not signed up through me too, you can reach out through the Telegram and get connected so you get some of those rewards. Bitcoin is fighting right between 120 and 121,000. It's been a good week, right? Like we were just at the end of September at what, $108,000 recently, right? We just set a higher low, and then like at the end of the month we were at 113,000. Now we're at 120. We're within spitting distance of new all-time highs, right? We're $4,000 away from all-time highs. Now we are seeing, like I said, some resistance around this level. I think it's kind of the bear's final stand, trying to make sure that we don't get close to the all-time high. We saw some liquidations that got us here. Some shorts got liquidated to get us up to this point. And we do have a lot of strong tailwinds. Like right now, first of all, the ETFs, the Bitcoin ETFs, have purchased over $2.2 billion worth of Bitcoin in the first 4 days this week. Remember the last couple months, it's been kind of back and forth, right? While we've chopped around in price, we've also chopped around with inflows. So we've actually seen a lot of like negative $300 million days, and then the next day plus $200 million, and then minus $100 million, and it just goes back and forth. But this week has been really strong. Just yesterday, about $625 million worth of Bitcoin was bought up. So that will definitely push up the price. We also have accelerated purchasing from some of the Bitcoin treasury companies, which we covered earlier this week, but Metaplanet has been buying faster and has actually doubled their stack very quickly. They doubled their stack from last quarter. And this means more over time because they've been able to do this actually like every quarter. They've doubled to quadrupled their stack, but now it's much bigger. So it affects the price a lot more of Bitcoin. We also have a lot of altcoins like right at significant resistance or like very close to breaking out. XRP has actually seen lower highs recently. It looks like it's on the edge of breaking out. I'd be watching like $3.15 as a key level because that is where the last peak was. So if we could get a higher low, that'd be good. Solana's seen a lot of higher lows. So the last recent peak that we saw was like 255. Don't be surprised if we break through that if Bitcoin breaks out, right? I don't think a lot of these altcoins will break out to new all-time highs or maybe even local highs until Bitcoin starts breaking through that 121 and then like preferably all-time highs again. So that could happen over the weekend. We could see some shorts get liquidated. Remember, there's less volume over the weekend. but also we don't have the tailwind of the Bitcoin ETFs over the weekend either. So it'll be interesting to see how this weekend fares for everyone and for crypto prices in general. Now, Trump just announced something pretty crazy. He wants to give, and this is not the first time that he's mentioned it, he wants to give $1,000 to $2,000 stimulus checks to everyone. Maybe there's some income requirement or something, but $1,000 to $2,000 checks giving back tariff revenue. Okay, this is kind of interesting. The last time this happened, obviously the stimulus checks from COVID, if you had put your $1,200 that you got from the stimulus check into Bitcoin, the first stimulus check, Bitcoin was only $7,000 then per coin. You would have bought about 0.17 Bitcoin, which is worth $20,000 today. And that would have been a good investment. So I'm sure some people will take this money and, you know, they're fine already. They already have a good job. Especially if we start to see the market moving up, they'll probably throw this into Bitcoin or altcoins. And this could actually make the market, I think, get even crazier because people will start, like, I don't want to say gambling again, but we could see that risk on moment where people are, you know, everyday people that aren't super interested in investing start to get more interested again, right? I mean, it's not the exact same thing as the COVID lockdown where there was like all this other money, but even just a stimulus check, $1,000, $2,000, people will put that in the market and then start trying to trade stocks again, especially when you look at how well the market's done, the stock market or the crypto market. I think people will be enticed to jump back in it, even if they haven't touched it in a few years, right? Yeah, you have to remember the everyday average retail investor jumps in when things are close to the peak. So not that we want to dump on newer investors, but, you know, that could be a pretty good time to take profit. I have mentioned that I'm going to take profit on a lot of leverage trades and then altcoins in Q4. And yeah, so far that's looking very possible because Bitcoin looks like it could break out. Now, of course, as I've said before, I am planning to hold the majority of my Bitcoin. I really just don't see a reason in selling it. I've done well diversifying in other ways in real estate and in stocks too. So I don't really need the money, and I think Bitcoin will still do really well moving forward. It's kind of crazy too. Like, there are some people that just won't go bullish until Bitcoin hits new all-time highs, which is a $4,000 move. On the other hand, if you think Bitcoin's going to $1 million one day, there are going to be 220 more $4,000 moves up to $1 million, which is just kind of crazy to think about, right? We're looking at Bitcoin like, ooh, it's moved up $500 or $1,000, but in 5-10 years, that will be nothing. Just like 5 or 10 years ago, it was nothing, or it was a big deal if it moved like, you know, $50. Now it doesn't seem like anything, like you don't even notice it. Like maybe you might notice $1,000 or $500 if we're close to a resistance or like a new all-time high or something like that. I've been watching Bitcoin and it keeps on like bumping up against 120,600, then comes back down just under 120,000. As I said yesterday too, we could see Bitcoin fall back down, I think pretty easily, down to 118,500. That is where we've seen the multi-cycle trend line, right? So back in 2017, we started it, and then 2021, we got rejected by a couple times, and then this cycle, we've gotten rejected by a couple times too. We just broke out above it for the second time, and yeah, I would not be surprised to see us fall down a little bit, try to flip that into support, and then continue moving up. But of course, I want to hear your thoughts. I think the biggest tailwind outside of stimulus, bigger than stimulus, is just the Fed lowering rates, and it looks like they're going to continue lowering rates. But of course, there is some economic data that we're just not getting because the government shut down. So it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out over the next 3 months, but I think we're in a good spot. Again, if you want to go more risk on with part of your portfolio, instead of trying to buy some altcoins, like really small altcoins, which I do here and there, right? I have a couple altcoins, but if you want to go more risk on and try to outperform the market, you can use leverage over on BYDFi. I've actually made more money from that than altcoins, most likely. I mean, of course, I have had like a couple 10x altcoins, and I think even 1 or 2 100x altcoins. But the way it's worked out, I haven't been able to put as much into the 100x altcoins and even the 10x, right? You're wondering when to sell. But with these levered positions, it's much less likely that you lose the capital completely compared to an altcoin, and there's less work involved too. So I have some positions that are up like 1,000%, right? And that I've held on to for a long time. If you want to do that, again, there are links underneath the video to BYDFi. Appreciate it. Talk to you all soon. Bye.